What is up, everybody? Lyle No Hippie Trucking and Transportation coming at you from a beautiful day in Colorado right now. Decided to take it outside. What's up, Trucker Trader Sam? Just want to do a quick video. It's easier for me just to come on here live and just talk about what I want to talk about. So I'm going to talk about that here real quick once a few more people get in here. Cheers. Wipe my screen down a little bit. Maybe I need to turn this around. Where is everybody at? Let me turn this around. All right, what's up, Slowpoke? DeAndre Berry. Where are you getting loaded at in Aurora? Hey, man, when I'm off, boy. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no clock when I'm off. So, anyway, what I wanted to get into real quick was had some people asking me, do I think that Prime caps earnings? And to be honest with you, I'm really not sure if they cap earnings or not. But one thing I do know is you need to put yourself in a position to when there is that chance for you to run it up, that you actually have a chance to run it up. And that means keeping an eye on your clock, doing everything that you need to do. Got to make sure none of these birds shit on me. But I think that's what the difference is between people, because I talk to a lot of people, right? And there's always people that are doing good. There's always people that are doing bad. And generally, they're the same people. And then there's always people that are kind of hovering around that middle. And I think that those people that kind of either hover around that middle or kind of at the upper end of that middle, there's always that time when you put yourself in the position to have those big weeks. Now, they may be average weeks for, let's say, 3 out of 4 weeks, or maybe 5 out of 6 weeks. But if you put yourself in the position for that 1 week and you're able to capitalize on it, that's where you kind of start exceeding those expectations. So I think that's the difference. I don't think that, they say that, we used to say in the mortgage business was the difference between the first place horse that wins millions of dollars and the last place horse that doesn't win anything is like less than a second or something like that. And it's kind of the same thing in trucking. You need to be in position to make the money when the money is there to be made. Now, that may not be every week. It may be once a month or every other month or however often, but you got to be there when it's time to run it up. What's up, Cox? Trucking Unfiltered, man. I still need to get back with you. I heard you're going through some stuff out there. But I've been relaxing so hard, man. It's been hard to think about anything other than this relaxation. Those of you guys that are wondering, this is that Penelope toasted bourbon right here, 100 proof. All right. So anyway, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. And, another thing that I'll say about that is the mortgage industry is just like any other, like, I kind of look at it like a commission sales job where, you have the 20-60-20 rule. 20% are always below the average, 60% are just riding that wave in the middle. Then you got the 20% that's on top of that. And the difference between those groups is not that much. Getting loaded at NFT. All right. I don't think I've ever picked up there. Usually, if I'm leaving Colorado, which I'll probably be leaving on the 6th of January, usually I'm headed out to Liberal or Dodge City. They do have some closer loads. Uh, Fort Morgan, Colorado is a good place to pick up, but then they have Greeley, and that place is a shithole. So I'd prefer not to pick up there. And I'd rather deadhead straight out to Dodge City than pick up at that Coors plant, even if it is paying for my deadhead. That's just any of them beer places is just too much to deal with. All right. Thanks for calling the other day. Still think about, all right, man, I'm telling you, as far as the stuff that's going on in Prime, you got the cameras, you got the degradation of the culture, stuff like that. But if you just are all about the money, and here's the only problem with you, Cox, is that you were there when everything was humming at Prime. And I'm talking about the culture more than the money. That's hard to step back into. That's the hardest thing that I'm dealing with right now is the culture, not the money. If it's just about the money, then you're going to be good to go. DeAndre Berry, Coors, and Budweiser, you sit way too long, and I don't blame you. Man, them beer places, they got you doing the hokey pokey, and it doesn't make no sense. Why are you going to go to a beer place? Why are you going to have to weigh before you go in? And then I could almost see if they're like, okay, maybe weigh on the way out or something like that. But if it's a preloaded trailer, what's the difference? I could see if you were going there and picking up a live load and they wanted to see how much you weighed empty so they could load you to the max, but that's not even the case. That's just absolutely stupid. So anyway, the other thing I want to talk about was low overhead. The main reason I see a lot of people fail out of here, and me and Tommy Unfiltered were speaking about this on the phone not too long ago. A lot of it is just overhead, and that could be credit cards, housing payments, it could be whatever it is. Staying lean financially and stuff like that is definitely going to be the way to make it through good and bad times. I mean, for those of you guys have been watching me, last year I was going through it with all these trucks, right? The only reason I was able to even do what I did was because I didn't have a bunch of shit. No credit card debt or very little. I run shit through credit cards, pay it off monthly, but no car payments, me or my wife. The house payment relatively low, all that kind of stuff. Uh, Outside income. But if it had been like where I had, car payments and credit card payments and all this kind of stuff, I would have went under. JJR, what's up? In the desert doing a dedicated Walmart thing. Hey, dedicated is some good shit, man. Although I think it could get boring after a while, I think I would take boring and know exactly where I'm gonna be stopping and where I'm gonna be picking up and knowing the procedures and all that stuff than I would just being out there running just complete OTR, even if it is boring. So keep your overhead low. You know, last and I actually did go against my own philosophy last year when because the problem with owning a fleet, when things start going wrong, you don't know what the bottom is. If you know what the bottom is, it's a lot easier to kind of figure out what you're going to do. But I didn't know what the bottom was. So there was a point where I actually went out and got a line of credit, which was something that I never would have done. And I won't do it again. But just because I didn't know what it was and there was just certain money I didn't want to get into. So that's that. All right. So now that that's out of the way, I could just get on into what I got to get on into outside of just the trucking stuff. But just to reiterate again, I don't know if Prime caps money. One thing I do know is sometimes it's better to not, like, a lot of people are like, let me get a, 34 and all this kind of shit. A lot of times I think when you do have that full clock or you do have a 34 or coming off a 34, if there's you and there's another truck in the same area, the truck that's going to end up taking that strong deadhead is the one that just got that full clock. Just saying. Sometimes I prefer running on a low clock. A lot of times you get those, like, let's say you've already ran 8 days and you got, like, let's say 8 hours or well, sometimes 10 hours, 9 hours, whatever, coming back on recaps. A lot of times those loads that you're going to get are going to be those shorter loads that are going to end up paying more money. So sometimes it's better to be low on the clock like that. So I'm not afraid to run a low clock. And if you got a good fleet manager, he's going to match those hours with those loads. And like I've said before, I've been tired. And more so when I first got into trucking, I would I would I wouldn't be afraid to tell him I need a break, my fleet manager, but I wouldn't go out of my way to ask him. But now I wouldn't have a problem doing it. But uh, rationing hours just doesn't seem to be the way to do it. Like, people are, say if you run 8.5 hours a day, you never run out of hours, all this kind of stuff. And I'm just telling you, I've tried to run out of hours to run into a 34, and I've never been able to do it. I've always got a load that matched whatever hours I had. So anyway, that's about it. Now just on to the other stuff. What's everybody doing? Where's everybody at? What's the weather like out there? I know it's about to start hitting up in that northwest, so hopefully you're not out there. Tommy, if you're still on here, did you get that truck fixed yet? All right, I know people might be driving, so might not be able to participate in the conversation, so I'll try to keep it running. Just got a message yesterday that my truck should be done over at Peterbilt. That's another hack right there. Those of you guys that don't have Peterbilt or Freightliner, Volvo, whatever dealerships near you, I happen to be lucky because I got the Denver drop yard or whatever that's out here, so I don't have to worry about it. But if I didn't, you know, every 3 times I come back, there's a reason to put my truck in the shop. That is the cheapest storage ever, right there. Putting your truck in the shop and then telling them what to do and then picking it up when you pick it up. All right, Slowpoke. Salt Lake City is cold and gloomy, but no snow. Trying to get this TNT student wrapped up for Christmas. Hey, you're a hero, man. Anybody training during the wintertime, I got to give all the props to, because that's one thing I could not do. All right, my DM wanted me to take a load from Denver. Christy, you didn't miss anything. I just was talking about if Prime capped loads or capped earnings and stuff like that. Gave kind of my thoughts on that, in that whether they're capping loads or not, which I don't know, it's you got to be in position. You got to be in the position to have that good week when it's available, and that means that you need to run perfectly the other time, so you have the hours to do whatever you might need to do. All right, my DM wanted me to take a look from Denver to freaking Spokane, going over 90. Fuck that. Luckily, I had a Hub seal on my trailer that needed to be replaced yesterday was gonna stop. Hey, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I think I'm kind of done messing around with some of that stuff. I mean, there were times, and I'll still do it, but I'm not sure I'd be all that excited about running out west right now. Christy says you're okay running out west. She used to do the Western 11. She says as long as you're in that bubble out there, but I'm not feeling too comfortable with that goddamn bubble. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody, and I hate going to Jersey, right? I just absolutely hate it. And I got this load a while back. This is probably maybe a year and a half. This is probably 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. I got a load that was leaving California going to, I think it was going to that Tropicana in Jersey City, New Jersey. And it was going to be a tight load. So I got the load. I told my fleet manager, first of all, I didn't want to do it anyway. But I didn't tell him that. I said, you know what? I'm probably not going to be able to make this load. I mean, it would be close if I was running balls out at night, stretching out 10 and a half hours minimum a day, all that kind of stuff. So he said, just run it out as far as you can, and we'll look at getting it repowered. Now, one thing I hate doing, and I will never drop 200 miles or less on somebody. Never. And I'll usually leave more on it than that just because I don't want that shit, right? So as soon as he said, just run it out as far as you can, we'll get a repower. Man, you've never seen me drive 55 miles an hour in my life before that. So I'm driving 55 miles an hour, driving 55 miles an hour. And finally, I just tell him, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. And I made the switch in. I made the switch in Champaign, Illinois. There's a road ranger out there that I switched with the driver at. Left a bunch of miles on it for him. He was actually happy for it. He didn't mind going to New Jersey, and it worked out for both of us. It was a decent paying load for what it was, and still had miles left on it. So that was a strategic run for me. I was not going to run that shit 65 miles out and put myself in any danger of being able to complete that load. All right, DeAndre, I'll run 84 to 82 to 90 to get into Kent or Seattle, but not 90 through Montana. Man, I hear Montana's getting absolutely killed right now, or they were getting killed yesterday. Anyway, Cool Breeze, can you park in your front drive? I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about it at my house, no. There is absolutely no way that I would park in front of my house out here. Not out here, man. I'll do it if this is what your question was about. I'll come out here for like a second to unload stuff and maybe pack some stuff up, but I try not to hang out in front of my house. If that's what the question was about. Mm. So I'm getting ready. I got my clothes in the washing machine, all that kind of stuff. I'm not coming out with as many clothes. Before I was having to pack for an infinite amount of time because I didn't know what I was going to have to do out there to offset some of these other trucks. So I could be out a month, I could be out 5 months as I was one time. It's not that case this time. So I'm coming out with less shit. So I'm going to pack up for not only this time out, but the next time I come back and go out. And I need to come up with my expense reports for last month as well. Haven't even touched that. And this month, since there ain't going to be no more expenses this month. Although, actually, I do have one thing to add on that. I finally broke down and just got the high vis jacket instead of that vest. Not because I give a fuck about the vest, but that shit's just harder to put on than just a jacket. Half the time I got that shit, it's all twisted up around my back and everything. Can't get it on right. So that is one thing I got. Boy, I tell you what, we got a taco place by our house now. It's in the oddest place. Like you would not figure a good ass taco place would be where it's at. But that place was some of the best fucking tacos I've had, including any like Southern California, Southern Texas type stuff. This place is awesome. Now it's a little more rustic. If I'm gonna go somewhere, I'd like to kind of relax, have some good seating. This is kind of the place where they got like mismatching chairs and shit like that. But this place, it was awesome. I might have to go grab me some more of that today. Damn, looks like my wife is gonna want to get the kids and grandkids and go bowling for Christmas. I'm not gonna be able to win that battle, so I might as well just go ahead and suck that one up. But that's the last thing I wanted to do. Yeah, Steve, this isn't the place where they're gonna be like letting you just like park outside the house for any long periods of time. The first thing I did, actually, I got it before I went to training, but first thing I did was not get the regular vest like you're a student in trucking. That was the first thing I did. Then the second thing I did was I rolled that shit around in the grass a little bit so it wasn't too bright. So I already knew I was going to look new enough out there being new, but I didn't want my vest to give it away. So I aged it up a little bit and I got something that was a little bit different than the regular vest. And I went ahead and went with the orange instead of the like yellow or green, whatever color they call that. But one of the hardest things about coming home is just having all the stuff to being able to complete all the stuff that you wanted to complete when you came home. So one thing I want to do is get some new furniture. So and then I'm gonna have a trash hauler come by and get two couches. I got a chair. I got two smokers I'm gonna throw away and just some other stuff. So just to clear out some stuff. And I've had this BMW sitting in the driveway or in the garage only because you know it's a rear wheel drive, so I can't really drive it in the winter. And when I went to change the battery, it really needs to be changed at a dealership or some bullshit. So it's just been sitting there almost like 4 years. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just get rid of it, right? I was almost thinking about spending whatever money it was going to take to get it back on the road. But I was like, I know some people that are mechanics. This is like an easy deal. I mean, it's super clean. Like, probably one of the clean. This might be the cleanest '03 BMW 540 out there, right? So I go to one of my boys. Man, I want to just give it away, bro. But the one thing I realized is it's harder to give shit away than it is to actually sell the shit. So I've dealt with this on numerous occasions. I remember I was one time I was up at Springfield, and I was trying to give shit away. Now I'm giving the shit away, right? And I got motherfuckers asking me questions about it, which is what's happening with this BMW. I'm like, I told my boy if he knows anybody, he's like, well, somebody wants to know about it and come by and take a look. I'm like, motherfucker, it's free and it's the cleanest shit you like. It There's no way that you would think that this car is gonna be cleaner. Like, it's cleaner than whatever you could have thought it was gonna be, right? It's like brand new. I just want it gone, right? Um, but they're almost making it where I'm just like, let me just call like cars for kids or veterans or whatever it is and just have them come and get it so I can get a little tax write off too. And I ain't got nobody out here trying to, you know, like they're making it seem like I'm doing them a favor or some shit. I was just trying to let somebody get some easy money, is really all I was trying to do because I don't have time to fuck with it. DeAndre, I need this shit gone immediately. So it's not. See, here's the problem. There's a lot of people, if they lived out here, would be able to do it, but I need this shit gone ASAP. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of like I think I know some people that if they lived here, but this gonna take some money. The tire, I would probably say you're gonna need new tires on the thing. So these aren't no cheap tires because it has those little low profile, So you're probably looking at maybe $1,000 in tires right there. And then you're probably gonna need to take it, drain all the oil, do whatever you gotta do with that, and then whatever you gotta do to start it up. But it's a perfect fucking car. Interior's perfect. I think it has like 2 dents on it that would easily be able to pop out without any major damage. And one of them is like not even really a dent. All right. Steven, I would purchase your old pickup. Man, that pickup truck has 191,000 miles on it, and that bad boy is bullet. I'm gonna say it's bulletproof, but it's already made its money. So if I pulled out the driveway tomorrow and the engine fell out of that thing, I'd be like, you know what? It's already made its money, and it sounds strong too. Prime capture earnings. That's 100% true. I agree, and if you weren't here earlier, I agree and I disagree. And I agree that they might try to keep things kind of level, but I think there's the bottom 20% that are never going to be able to get up to the middle 60%. And I think the middle 60%, they may sometimes get in the upper 20%, may not, whatever. But there's always that group of people that always seems to be running strong. And that could be them, that could be the fleet manager, it could be a combination of things. But what I'm seeing, because I talk to a ton of people, and it's always, well, I don't talk to a lot of the people that aren't doing that well because they usually come and go, kind of. But the people that I talk to that are always doing better than everybody else seem to be always those same people that are doing better than other people. It's just like any other job, man. To me, it's almost similar to like a sales job. It's the 20-60-20 rule, or more commonly known as the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the people, it's not the same. 20% of the people don't make 80% of the income like in sales, but those top 20% or that 60% that kind of comes up every now and then, they do make more money. You do have that bottom 20% that never gets there. I don't know why, but I think that what separates people is, even if Prime is capping people, there's just sometimes those people that are able to run that efficiently to where even if they're trying to get capped, they break out of that cap. And it doesn't have to be every week. It could be like every 3 weeks or whatever, but they're going to capitalize. All right, Slowpoke. I sold my mom's '89 Honda Accord to this dude for $400. Full wanted me to detail it for him before he signed the title. Man, all I want somebody to do is to come by here with the tow truck, get this shit out of the driveway. Because I'm almost halfway tempted to just fucking have a, have it towed to a shop and get it. If it was an all-wheel drive, I would just have it towed to the shop and have them do it, and then I'd just run it myself. And the problem with anybody buying it now, if they didn't live here, if a winter storm, if a winter storm hit, if any snow got on this road out here, you can't drive that shit in the snow. It's super low to the. It's not. It's factory, but it's the. If you're familiar with those M series BMWs, it's not an M series. It has that kit on it, so it's got this. It's lower profile. It's got the wider rims. The actually, really, what I should do, and that would be more of a headache, would be just to sell the rims. The rims alone, somebody could just take it and just sell the rims and make some money on it. But if somebody gets too picky, I'd just be like, fuck it. I really just need to give it away to like a charity. So I'm gonna be looking into that probably later today. Because really, all that you would need to do is get the battery in it. Have that battery coded to the truck, and or not truck, coded to the car, and it would start. Now, if it's been sitting for a while, so it's probably gonna need new head gaskets, all that stuff. But I did talk to Peruvian trucker about it. Like, what would I need to do if I needed to get it back on the road? T News, we're just out here struggling at prime, not like you out there with the big boys running them $6,000 weeks at Landstar. I'm joking. Hey, the money's still fine at prime, man, but we still got the pacifier in our mouth out here. So we ain't just running free, you know what I'm saying? We're out here driving around like we're smoking weed at our mom's house, you know. Man, I'm not gonna. It's in the garage, and that means I'm about to pick up this computer, walk out to the garage, do all that. T News. When I'm off, man, it could be 4 in the morning. Heck, Rod, slow season's coming soon too. Hey, this is the perfect time because I just paid off that truck. So, or I haven't just paid it off. 2 more payments on that bad boy. As a matter of fact, I was just doing the math today. If my payment on that was like 1150 ish times 52 weeks, that's like an extra $60,000 a year right there. So we could go into a slow season, and all that means is, you know what? If I'm running 3 weeks slow, maybe it's time to go home early and take more time off. But I'm not gonna. There's literally zero stress right now, which is totally different than last year. Truck Trader Sam, it is a good ass car. I'm just telling you. I, I think I erased all the pictures of it, but just picture a brand new 540i. That's what it is with the M kit on it. Yeah, I think I deleted all the pictures of it because I was gonna sell it years ago, and it hasn't moved. All right, Steve Sherry, did I ever drive a 300Z? I did when I was selling cars back in the day. Um, when I was selling them, they weren't as popular as they got because I was selling them like in 90. Oh shit. I'm about to get off here. Looks like my battery's low. But I was selling them in 90, so they really didn't get that. popular till a little bit later on. Congrats, bro. I may be at Walmart before it starts. All right, have fun at Walmart. Seriously, Walmart's a good place to go to, from what I've heard. Coming to Prime orientation January 3rd. You were one of the reasons I chose Prime. Hey, if it's about the money, you're gonna make that money. Trust me on that. It's easy in slow season when your truck's paid off, one load, and you're still making money. Absolutely. Just think about this: a $3,000 a week would net me about almost $2,000 to the bank. Truck Trader Sam, how many miles are on it? Miles on it, I think, are like 120 something. I don't remember. I bought it from a BMW enthusiast. All he bought was BMWs, and um, I bought that in like 2018 or something, and only drove it a little bit before I left to come into the trucking. And that's had I lived here, I'd have been driving it enough for me to, like, I never would have been in this position. I'm just frustrated that it's sitting in my garage, and for me to get the battery coated, I got to do all this other crazy shit. So I'm just like, let me just get rid of it. So anyway, it looks like this battery's. Let me see how much juice I got left in this battery. Let me run inside, see if I can plug this in real quick. Oh, this isn't that bad. All right. Yeah, if those of you guys just came in, this is what I was doing before. My boy Josh hasn't been in here lately. Josh was the one that's a pretty expensive bottle right there. I'm still looking for somebody that's driving around one of my trucks. I haven't seen it out there yet. That purple 24 or the orange 24 that I turned in. Rakesh, you're just not working anymore. Hey, it's gonna slow down, man. It is definitely gonna slow down. Last year was like the most I've ever even. That was the most I worked in my life, and I will even include the time that I was in the Gulf War back in 89, 90, all that. I don't think I've ever worked or been that stressed out ever. All right, I don't understand why Prime wants more people to stay working during Christmas and New Year. I don't get it, because in the last 4 weeks, I've only been making an average of $900. That's crazy. See, I wasn't in the same position. I was actually doing pretty well. But, and I've never not done well over the holidays, and I'm not saying that that's because of me. I just happened to get loads that ran over the holidays, so I never really did that bad. I never stayed out because of the raffle tickets or any of that. None of the bonuses and stuff like that. I never stayed out because of that. And this year, like I said, I think I wasn't planning on coming home until after January because when the title to the truck comes in, it needs to get handled within a certain amount of time, I believe. At least that's what I remember from the last truck I paid off. So I was gonna stay out till January, wait for that, and then take off. But this was almost kind of a protest move for me. It was kind of like, you know what? If everything is gonna be, I don't know. It was just I took time off in protest more than anything, and I, not that there was anything wrong. It was just like I just get tired of this whole the way they keep playing this camera thing is just like very not hitting me right. And if you guys haven't watched this Dope Strings, that's the name of his channel, Dope Strings. He did a video. Let me see what his title. I might even play it if it's loud enough, but he said something that really made sense to me. Now I might not have done that, you know what I'm saying? Because I think they're trying to squash the resistance, but it's called What Prime Wants Us to Do. Hold on.
This is just giving a problem more
Let me see.
safety. Or I guess fleet manager, but I think fleet manager will go to safety anyway. So you got to speed with safety. It's like, bro, I got to do all this crap.
I mean, this rang so true for.
We got a freaking when we pick up a load, we got to freaking arrive at shipper. If you drop a hook, we got a drop trailer, pick up trailer. We got a freaking depart shipper. You got to send in the paperwork now. It's mandatory you send in the paperwork before you leave. Even if you don't receive the paperwork until you get to the freaking guard shack and you're literally blocking the freaking driveway, you got to send in the paperwork. And then once they get it, you have to wait till they get it. And then you have to freaking call. You have to go over this paperwork. And now we got to freaking look at alerts every freaking day. And now we got to freaking dispute. We got to call safety. Dispute the freaking dispute stuff with safety. Or I guess fleet manager, but I think fleet manager will go to safety anyway. So you got to speak with safety. It's like, bro, I got to do all this crap all the time. It's like it's more stuff. It's more stuff, man. Me personally, I freaking forget to do things all the time, bro. I done forgot to freaking call on my departures multiple times. Majority of the times is I tried calling on my freaking departure. It take like 30 minutes to reach anybody, so I end up leaving, bro. I'm not about to sit there and freaking wait on stuff. I know what y'all gonna ask, but I gotta take me in all. No, that's time consuming. So I freaking go down the road. I get into dispute every single video. Have a button where I can dispute every single video because that's what I want to do. I want to dispute every single video. Basically, is what I want to do. Have it so drivers can dispute everything. It's safety that was pushing for the camera situation. Drivers didn't push for this, bro. We living with it, but we didn't push for this camera situation. We don't want to do y'all job. I didn't come to prom to look at driving videos. I didn't come to prom for that, bro. I didn't come to prom to freaking look at driving videos do safety job. That's not why I came here, bro. I came to make money. That's what I came to do. Drive trucks and make money. But I didn't come to do safety job at all, to be honest. It's like, bro, first off, I don't even call my fleet manager that much at all. I might call like every few days, but I don't have to call my fleet manager every single day that I get a freaking I get a thing. And these are prone to these videos that you get, they're prone to have you prone to have to learn. I don't even think you get those no more, but I don't know if the collision warning will still pop up. I don't even freaking remember to do a lot of stuff right now.
So anyway, the point he's making is now they're trying to, now we got to look at our own videos that pop up on this stuff. And then, you know, again, one more thing that's placed on us. So I kind of agreed with what he was saying there. Dad makes, daughter breaks. What's up? Morning from Vegas. Man, it's been a long time since I've been in Vegas. I don't really stop that much in Vegas. Usually I try to make it through there or stop before there. They got this Chevron or something like that that's before you get to Vegas. If you're coming from like, I don't know what direction it would be. If you're whatever direction you're coming from, before you hit Vegas, and then there's a Shell in Baker, California that has the best. There's Mike's, some kind of a sub sandwich place out there that makes, man, I'll put them like cheesesteak sandwiches up against some Philadelphia ones. Them things are that good over there. So I don't usually stop out there, but I have stopped. I'll tell you a funny story. So there was a time that I was, when I first kind of got out on my own, I didn't even have my first lease purchase truck yet. Although I did end up getting that truck when this guy was on my truck. And he's like, hey, Lyle, you know, I don't think I don't feel comfortable being out on my own. I don't think that I want to be a truck driver anyway, but I just want to stay at Prime long enough to fulfill my contract. So would you consider teaming with me? So I was like, thought about it. I was like, you know, all right. So the difference is there's a little bit of a dynamic when it's not a trainee student thing or something like that, where he was trying to throw a little bit of his input in a little bit too much, and he wasn't quite the runner. And anyway, to make a long story short, we'd been running pretty hard, and we had a load that was dropping off in Henderson, Nevada. And I was running the shit out of this load to get it to Henderson like more than a day early. So he lived in Henderson, so he could take some time off and I could sit in the truck and relax by myself. So I get out there, mission accomplished. We pull over. I'm expecting him to get his shit together, you know, do whatever to go to his house and everything. And I'm like, what? Aren't you going home or something like that? And then he's like saying, well, you know, I haven't had the air on in my house. It's going to be super hot there. So I ran out there as hard as, you know, harder than even I normally would have, just to get him home so I could have a day off in the truck. And this motherfucker doesn't leave the truck. I was pissed, especially after he'd been so soft at a couple of points along the way. Actually, you know what? It was the first day I got the truck. That's right. This particular load was the first load that I got out of Springfield with my 21 Peterbilt. And we're driving through Vale, and he's like acting like he's tired, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it and all this stuff. I don't know if Samson's on here or not, or if he's watching this video or not, but I was on the phone with him. It was like one of the first times I like really broke on somebody, and I was like, you know, I was like, man, you are soft as a motherfucker. I was pissed. I was like, you're soft as a motherfucker. And he didn't say anything for a while, and then he's like, got all into this emotional shit with me, like, you know, I really didn't like the way you said that. I mean, I was like, I'm not fucking Oprah. I was like, this is my job to get the fucking load here. And, you know, that's it. The load is getting there. Now, you don't have to fucking drive the load. You know, you could pull over, do whatever you got to do, but the load's going to get there. And So that was the first thing. And then there was a second time. Okay, so I drove my shift and then he was driving. There was a place to like I was like, get fuel. And if you can't get fuel, park. And then wake me up and then I'll drive or something like that. And then he got fuel and I think he was afraid to park, which I would have just been like, man, why don't you just park? And then, or wake me up and then I could park or do whatever. But I don't. Anyway, what ended up happening was he pulled out. The parking place that was there wasn't there by the time I drove back around. So I ended up having to drive like immediately, just raw dogging it. No, like, no preparation or nothing. And anyway, that was that. But anyway, the place that I stopped at, to make a long story short, to make a long story longer, should I say, he lived in Henderson. I stopped at that like railroad, like truck stop, casino, whatever it was. And he kept his ass in the truck. I was so pissed about that. So anyway, I was like, all right, fuck it. Let me just come up here and get this sandwich because I heard this place was known for their sandwiches. I went up there and got this Kobe beef cheesesteak, and that was like the worst money I've wasted in a long time up there. All right, Rakesh, have you ever been to, I think it's the Shell, the exit for Christiana, Tennessee? They have some amazing cheesesteak and a huge parking lot. Christiana, Tennessee is the place where they had that taco place that closed down. So I would have always gone there. I didn't realize it was closed down till the last time I went through there. But no, I haven't gone through there. Myth Leather Company, what's up? He's one of those people that sent me a little bit of my relaxation juice. That bourbon, man. Hey, there was just a post on one of Prime's Facebook posts or Facebook pages or whatever talking about how do you like relax and like decompress, when you're out here on the road. I was like, first of all, run your ass off. Second of all, take at least 10 days off. And third of all, get some of that bourbon. It'll shut you down real quick. That's something I look forward to when I'm out there, is getting home to get to some nice bourbon. And it's not like we're drinking to get fucked up. Usually the people that have drinking problems, they ain't the bourbon drinkers. They're usually the vodka drinkers or, those kind, drinkers like that. This is more of a, enjoy the experience type of a situation right here. Let's see. Shoot, I might be behind on some of this. Okay, hold on. T News got a trailer full of tequila. My wife is about the tequila. I'm not really a tequila fan all that much. But yeah, that's my wife right there. She's into that. She makes a pretty good margarita. All right, my wife's over here kissing her own ass real quick. Would you say it louder so they could hear how good your margarita is?
I just asked. I said pretty good. That's all. I successfully finished sawing that Georgian.
Those of you guys that weren't in here the last time, let's talk about what we got on the lineup. You know, from the last time I was home, I bought this would be kind of like if you were home every day, your everyday sipper right here. Old Granddad 114 coming in at 114 proof. My wife bought this here, Colorado bourbon. You can tell it's this will be really good years from now when this distillery gets older, but it's a younger bourbon. You could tell they haven't been doing it long enough to have older bourbon, but this here is 130 proof, which was one of the things I was looking for when I came back, was a high proof bourbon. So got that. My boy Josh that bought my Peterbilt from me sent this. This is hard to find, and this could be pretty costly. So that's a Weller full proof coming in at 114 proof. I went and bought some 1792 full proof. This one's coming in at 125 proof right there. Don't know if it has an age statement on it or not. This was a store pick by Bevy's Liquor World in Parker, Colorado. Distilled and bottled by Barton's Distillery, Bardstown, Kentucky. So you got that. Four Roses, small batch select. This was a store pick as well. Coming in at 104 proof. 1792 is some good stuff. That right there is really, I like the sweetness and kind of the banana flavor that comes from that. And actually, Myth Leather Company, who's in here, sent me something that tasted similar, just not as high proof. And it's very similar to that. Then it's got some Still Austin. This is a Texas bottle right here. I had one of my boys that lives in San Antonio bought me a bottle of this, sent it home, and I thought it was awesome. So this one here, I don't think this is the same bottle that he bought me, but this one comes in at 116 proof right there. That stuff is awesome too. And the one that I started the video off with, this up and coming bourbon company, is Penelope. And this is toasted, coming in at 100 proof. So anyway, that's kind of the deal. So that's enough to get me by probably for the next 2 home times. All right, how much is the 291 whiskey? Andrea, how much was it? It was $65. I think that was at Costco. I think usually it's closer to 100. I don't think it's worth 100.
They have the Four Roses for $40.
I know this one is a little bit different than that one because this was a store pick. So not that it's any better. I would have probably went with the one that you had, but that's a little different. Sort of like this. See how this says it's a store pick? That means the store went out there and actually picked a specific barrel for that. But yeah, the 291, that's, go to Costco. They had that there.
Here
anyway. And what I'll say about it is it's going to be a different bourbon experience. It's a harsher bourbon. I think 4 years from now, or 3 or 4 years from now, that's probably going to, once they're able to age their stuff a little bit longer, it's going to mellow out just a little bit. But it's not like it's a bad bourbon. It's just a totally different experience than what you would get from a lot of this other stuff. So I think I've seen it $100 elsewhere, or close to $100. and under 70 at Costco out here. Maker's 46 French Oak is my go-to. Long Branch Wild Turkey is good to go to. I almost got the. They have a few Maker's Mark products that are up there. They had one that was just a little too. If I was only going to get one bottle, I might have went for it. But it was like a super. I forget what it was. It was Maker Mark. It was like a small batch. I think it might have been like it was a lot of years old, but it was like over like everything I wanted to get. Some of the stuff I wanted to get was just like too much money. I think that was like almost close to $100. There was they had other Maker's Mark that were below that. I know which one you're talking about, and then they have like some of those that are in that 117 proof. But they had the one I was looking at was more, and I really wanted to get this Penelope, so I kind of held off on that. And then there was like one of the worst bourbons you can get, or whiskeys or whatever you can get, is Jack Daniels. But they had the Jack Daniels barrel proof up there coming in at like 135 proof. I was almost going to get that, but that was like over $100. So these were all kind of mid-range. I mean, I think the one that my boy bought me, Weller, was definitely the most expensive out of these. Everything else might have been in that 65 and under range or something like that. The French Oak runs $40. Which French Oak are you talking about? The Penelope? The Penelope they had one that was even more proof than this, and I'm a proof snob, kind of a little bit. They had one that was a little bit more proof, but it was less money. But I wanted to get something that was different, and that Toasted was I don't think that was. I think that if that's the one you're talking about, I don't. Oh, the Makers, okay. Yeah, they have a Maker's Mark bottle that doesn't have a sticker on it. It's like handwritten on it and all that. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. But Jack, are you talking about? Okay, Blue Label. The only Blue Label I know is Johnny Walker Blue Label. I don't know about a Jack Daniels Blue Label. Man, they have so many Maker's Mark stuff up there. It's hard for me to just find the one. So I've heard of Johnny Walker Blue Label. I've bought that before. Okay, the Maker's Mark 46 is French oaked. Yeah, I'm sure I'll try that one of these days. Eduardo, what about Shrek Happily Ever After? Thoughts? I don't know. I've never had that.
That's a movie.
If that's a movie, oh no, I'm not much of a cartoonish type of a movie person. My wife's the only person who knew that was a movie that you were talking about. So she has me trying to watch some goofy movie with The Rock in it.
It's not goofy. It's a Christmas movie.
It's fucking dumb. It's called like Red or something like that.
Red one.
Whatever.
You're dumb.
It's hard to find, but a bottle of Elijah Craig toasted rye after looking for years, and it's too good. Yeah, I was kind of looking for that as actually. I think I might have seen it up there at the.
We have Elijah Craig, but not the rye one.
I think I might have seen that where I went.
We have some kind of Dickles rye and
Yeah, not want no Dickel.
what else? Oh, Woodford Reserve rye. There's a rye.
If you could find some Russell Reserve or some.
Woodford Reserve, no Russell. I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar.
Russell's would be a wild turkey.
There's some Frank August or Frank A or something like that. They don't have very much of it. Okay. Look at these.
What do you have them for?
Why do people have flowers?
They're just sitting here like doing nothing.
To look pretty.
Why don't you clear out some space and put them like somewhere that makes sense?
But in a window on a table does make sense.
No,
To somebody who likes
they're in a
flowers.
fucking box right here.
These are gifts.
Why don't you give them away?
But that's what I need to do because they're growing too fast.
Okay, well do it.
They weren't supposed to grow this fast. I may go hang out with Shorty and
Who's that?
Little Man
What's that?
because I love him.
Why don't you grab some
Or
stuff
tell
and
them to come over here so they
clean
can.
up some stuff and
Right. Or they can come over here.
why can't they just come up here anyway? Why do you gotta go get them?
Well, then that's what I said. Or they can come over here.
Well, why don't you do that and then we can go have some tacos with them? She's wanting to spend time with the grandkid and everything, and that's fine. Just make sure that enthusiasm is still around when he can fucking shovel or cut some grass or do some shit like that. Because right now he's just freeloading. How old is he?
He will be a year and a half on Christmas Eve.
Just like I said, freeloader.
Right. All right. Well,
Whatever you got in the dryer.
there's nothing. Oh, the rugs are in the dryer. Hang on.
Yep, T News. I'm out here looking to see what's going on out there with you at Landstar, boy. Because if these guys act too crazy, get him out there cutting grass at 5 as soon as possible.
I'm giving him a little bit more of a toss. When it finishes, feel free to take them out.
Why don't you just take them out?
They're not done yet.
Okay, well, stay here till they're done. Did you figure out what
I'm
you're
not
doing?
going anywhere. What do you mean?
I thought you were going somewhere.
No, I was trying to get her to come over here. I just texted her, but I tried FaceTime and she didn't answer earlier. So I don't know if she's trying to take a shower before Greg goes to work or something. Hello.
Heck, Rod, my son's almost 14 months. That's about time to start doing some work around the house. See, here's the thing. As soon as my son, I haven't cut no grass. I would have said I hadn't shoveled no snow or none of that shit in like damn over 15 years. But last time I came home, my wife and son were in Mexico, so it did snow like a foot. So I did have to get out here and shovel some snow. But before, man, it'd been 15 years since I'd shoveled or done any of that stuff. That's the beauty of having kids, and especially having a kid that wants to linger around the house like a stale fart. All right. What's up from New York? Good weather today, man. It's good weather out here too. It is wonderful out here. Let me see what the temperature is. 49 degrees. Man, that is the beauty of, see, daughters are a little bit different. You know what I mean? Sons, you know what? You could be a little bit harder on them. And I don't even think I would be in the same position with my daughter as I was with my son. You know, when my son could take me out for drinks and lunch, you know, that was like something that maybe I won't be able to happen with the daughter. First of all, because you just don't look at it like that. But that was something I really said. Like he's done it before, kind of, but not really. I don't know. Something was different about this last time we went out to eat and stuff. And that was like him crossing the threshold into. Well, I don't think he'll.
She said she was gonna call anyway to come over and go through some more stuff in the basement, but she said it'll be closer to noon because she just put some stuff in the washer dryer.
Okay, yeah, tell her to get all that shit.
So she's going to. She's been coming over and doing that. You just don't know what's been happening. You just assume a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm. I assume was fucking
You
right.
have a really good way of assuming, my love.
All right, on 70 headed to Loveland, Colorado. It's beautiful out here. Where on 70 are you? And I still would not be going over Vail Pass, no matter how good it looks. That shit could change in a heartbeat. And if my boy Don happens to be watching this, congratulations on the birth of your son. He was rushing to make it home, got home, all that kind of stuff. Then, you know, his wife had a C-section, all that stuff. And then, you know, she wanted to talk about how painful it was and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I happen to be a don't tell me about the labor, show me the baby kind of person. Just joking.
No, you're not.
Don't tell me about the labor, show me the baby.
Motto, exactly. That is your life's motto. I don't care how much. Just tell me how much it costs. I don't give a shit about anything in between. What does it cost? That's it.
Parachute, Colorado. Woo! You might get lucky if you hurry up and get over Vail, but that is so unpredictable. Vail, like, definitely look at the weather. And even then, don't trust it. You better get over there before 2 p.m. Hit it before 2 p.m., yo. Just telling you. Because here's the problem, and people don't listen to me, and sometimes it's faster to go over Vail. Here's the problem. At least it's not the weekend. But if it was even on the weekday, but the weekend worse. Even if the weather is fine in Vail and you're coming over from the west, so you're going west to east, if the weather is good, then you have all these people that went up there skiing that are headed back to Denver. That traffic is horrible. And then if it happens to be snowing, then it just happens to be snowing. You're just shit out of luck. And it changes on a, like, you can't look at an app and be like, the weather says it's not going to be any snow in Vail. You cannot do that shit out here. Not in Vail. That is unpredictable. So, hope you make it over. Get over there before 2 o'clock. It's supposed to be some moisture at like 2 o'clock. And I'm going to keep telling you guys, the best weather source that I have in the wintertime, go to Facebook. This right here, daily forecast and road conditions for trucker. This is better than any fucking map, any fucking app, any state website, any of that stuff. This right here is my go-to. The lady that runs this like a job. All right. So, hey, wait, Slime Pack, aren't you home? I mean, I guess that's like, always a 50-50 proposition when you're talking to Slime Pack. Are you home right now? Oh shit, I'm joking. Hey, Truck Trader Sam, the worst feeling, probably the worst feeling, maybe third worst feeling I had in trucking was, obviously I live in Colorado. I've been over Vail or all that. Actually, I hadn't gone the whole way across. I'd gone to Vail and Breckenridge and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know the distance between that last truck stop and then Denver was so far. Man, I got into Denver with maybe 3 gallons of gas. Fuel, whatever you want to call it.
Oh.
I swear to God, I started off with like 50. But you just don't know how far the distance is between those two places, and you're sucking up all that fuel going up all them hills.
So I have a 21-gallon tank, and do you know how many times I go to the pump and I do 20 and a half?
Okay. Slime Pack is going home. Yep, I know. Slime, you know what? Here's one thing about Jasmine, Slime Pack, is there's a lot of people that are new drivers that you can look and they'll either say something to let you understand how much they know about the job and what they don't know about the job. And when she first got out on her own, the way she was talking about her job, her clock, when she wanted to get there, all this kind of stuff let me realize, first of all, she had a good fucking trainer. And second of all, she knew how to do her job. That is one thing I got out of those videos she was putting out. And well, I think what it wasn't that she was doing things that a lot of people don't do, but I don't think a lot of new people do it because they're just overwhelmed with the experience to begin with. So I always thought she was doing a good job. My man Romaine, he does a good job too. He might sometimes leave a little bit more meat on the bone than I'd like, but he's got no fear too. Yeah, my wife's out here being Bob the Builder at home right now.
Yes, I am. And this is the shit I was upset that I couldn't finish before you got home because I wanted to surprise you. Part of this shit, anyway.
Yep, my truck is done at Peterbilt. I was gonna go down there and get it, but no rushing going down there and picking it up.
No.
It can sit.
I might get that jigsaw out and cut those boards after before we'll see.
So wait, Jasmine, you aren't gonna be taking place in the raffle. You might be lucky enough to win $25,000. I could have swore last year. I don't know why. I kind of had a feeling I was gonna win that damn truck. I don't know why. I actually thought I was gonna win that truck last year. I don't know why I thought it, but I for sure thought I was gonna win it.
You can just buy another truck.
I don't need another truck. If I get something, they give me no truck.
Well, then you can get a new truck.
It'll be something the next time. The next time,
way better.
the next time I come back. I was thinking there's like a 528i BMW. I was thinking was nice.
The one that Mason showed me that.
I don't know.
That you showed him.
There's a number of them. There's like 5.
For you?
No,
I like
just
to keep mine
just
and drive it wheel till the wheels fall off. I don't care if it's 20 more years. And you know what? She would be beautiful, like gunmetal gray with black wheels.
what would?
My car, my baby. It's so much fun to drive. I don't care. I'll keep it for the next until I die, even if I'm 100. Getting rid of cars is such a waste.
Shamarcus, an extra 25K would be nice. You know what? What's nice, man? And this is the long-term view. I think a lot of people don't look at. I think you mentioned it in one of your videos when you were talking about why people do. Well, I can understand why people do regular leases at Prime, because selling these fucking trucks is totally. Now that they've kind of changed it, before Pedigree would take it and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of changed. So I can see there being a reason why you would just do a regular lease, but man, I'm just telling you, paying off that truck, especially with what new truck prices are. If you're a Prime and you think you're going to stay at Prime at least long enough to where you can pay off the truck and leave or do whatever, I don't know what it is, 18 months, and then you could take the truck, somewhere else or pay it off. That is the cheat code right there. Because having a paid off truck, that's like making an extra $60,000 a year. Actually, let's do the math. I think I did it earlier. That's like making an extra, $60,000 a year right there. Boom. If you could just thug it out, make that payment, which is less. So I think a lot of people don't understand these lease purchases at Prime. So they're like, maybe I don't want to do it or whatever. But if you're already in a lease and you're like, hey, I'm making money at Prime and I'm leasing and I'm just going to go ahead and get another regular lease. If you just put that 14 grand, actually, if you complete a lease, it's not even going to be 14 grand down. So let's say that you only put down 11,000. Your payment's going to be $100 less than it would be on a normal lease. You ride that out for 3 years. You get the title. And then for at least the next 3 years, it's like making an extra 60. It's like making $180 extra $1,000 over the next 3 years. And then if you have to buy another truck, like they're like, well, you can't keep it on Prime's fleet, then you start over or put down half or do whatever, but you've made that extra $180,000 for those 3 years. The math is just too, you can't pass that math up. And it just takes so much stress off you, man. It's just like, Tom, they'll let you run those trucks for at least 3 more years. So even those 3 years, you're going to make an extra $180,000 over those 3 years. So you at least got those 3 years. Then you sell the truck, even if I think it's more than 3 years though. But let's say it's just 3 years. You make those extra $180,000 for those 3 years. In my case, let's say I pay it off now. It has less than 300,000 miles on it. It's going to have maybe 500,000 miles on it when it's paid off. Then let's even just say I lowball sell it for 30 grand. There's another 30 grand right there. So, and I'm not even sure at that age that I'd be looking to do. Maybe it's time to just do a company job or find somebody dumb enough that'll put me on their lease fleet. You know what I'm saying? So they could offset all my shit. Because at that point, it's going to be time to shut it down, kind of almost. You know what I mean? So I'm not even sure that I would do another purchase at that point. Maybe it's time for me to let somebody else assume all my risk so I could put DEF in their fuel tanks and run over guard shacks and tip shit over on people's houses and, shit like that. 7 years total. So I got 4 more years after this truck is paid off. So, so 4 more years. So 60 times 4. So that's 240,000 plus the value of the truck when it's done. And more than any of that, because I don't need to make all that money, the peace of mind, the no stress, that's worth the money right there. All right. Truck Trader Sam, I don't understand how people keep leasing over and over. It's insane to me. Listen, I can't talk about insanity because what I did the last couple of years was insane itself. So I can't point my finger at anybody else doing other, insane shit because I was doing some insane shit. But yeah, I do understand that. And I think a lot of people don't think long-term about it. Even if I was stupid about my choices, they were at least long-term choices. And I think sometimes people think a little bit short-term. Like there's plenty of things to do outside of Prime. Obviously, Tom Bell, you can go work out there with him, make over 100,000 as a company driver. You can go to Walmart. You got to do whatever, but at some point you got to stand, as they say, 10 toes down on a decision and be in or out. And the problem is people are wavering, like, I don't know if I'm going to be here and I don't, so they keep doing these half, like they don't fully commit on something. And if I was a team driver, husband and wife, I would not do a lease purchase. So in that case, I'd understand it. Or if I was training, there's no way I would train full-time as a lease purchase. So there's exceptions to the rule. But yeah, doing you'll see some of these guys that have been at Prime for like 20 years and they've like flipped these leases over and over and over. And that 20 grand or whatever it is, 15 grand lease completion bonus looks nice, but fuck, that's not the play. I wouldn't think so if you're going to choose between the two. I mean, the lease purchase is so good at Prime. Sometimes I feel like they're going to just stop it. T News, he was a lease purchase guy at Prime. He paid off his shit, bounced to Landstar. For some reason, people at Prime think trucks are worthless after 3 years. I see people out here driving trucks held together by duct tape. I kind of felt that way when I was selling cars for some reason. A lot of times when you're selling cars, somebody comes and trades in a car, it has 1,000 miles on it, and they, act like it's not worth anything. And I had that belief forever, and it took me till after I got out of the car business for me to realize that that's where the money's made on cars. Buying those cars with 100,000 miles or more, cheap, running them out, then selling them for what you paid for. But anyway, I have a second truck with a good driver, but man, no one will drive like you. Like you said before, I was thinking about you the other day. Lyle got big balls to deal with 4 trucks. I couldn't. That snuck up on me, okay? That wasn't like I was actually going to do that. So here's the way the plan was I was supposed to sell that first truck once the third one came in. But that was when Success or Pedigree was not buying trucks anymore. So I got stuck with that truck. So it was never supposed to grow like that. It was just the way things happen. Even under the best circumstances, it's just too much to deal with. Okay, midlife trucker. I already know where we're going on this one. There's a couple guys at Hirschbach, I should say clowns, that Kevin figured out why Prime's lease costs more per week because you own the truck at the end of it. Well, okay, so the Prime lease purchase and the Prime lease, the payment's actually higher on the Prime lease than the lease purchase. So those 2 guys you're talking about at Hirschbach, first of all, from the average person that I talk to at Prime, what they're talking about as far as money is not like anything to get all that happy about. And then you're going to throw a team on top of that. And then I will say that the payment is low on that, so I think that's good. But obviously, and I think they've mentioned that they're not going to ever pay that truck off. So at least they have the right mentality as far as that goes. But I just could not do that. That's not enough money for a team. And I'm just not sure that I don't know. I'm not going to talk about. They're irritating because they keep talking about these guys at Prime that are leaving to go over there. If you're a Prime leaving to go to Hirschbach, then I have to question what you were doing at Prime. Because even like think about this. For those of you guys who don't know, the easiest way, if you ever hear anybody at Prime talk about, I just grossed this much money a week. So first of all, we're on a percentage thing, but the way that I would always guesstimate what my income was going to be would be to take my gross divided by 2, and that's going to be kind of where I'm at. So they're happy about whatever they're happy about. So I'm saying, as a solo driver, if you were only to do $4,000, and that's a bad week. I don't even like if I did $4,000 in any particular week, that was a bad week. Like there was a reason for that. But let's just say I did $4,000. So I take $4,000, and since it's kind of low, I might take a little bit more than half off the top. But let's say $4,000, divide that in 2. That leaves me with 2. Now the numbers might be skewed a little bit because it's so low. So take $2,000, take off 3, and that's going to leave me with $1,700, something like that. That's $4,000. Like that's not even like moving. $4,000. That's like a 2,000 mile week. Maybe maybe 1,800 mile week. And really, I don't mind what they're saying. I really don't care. But when you start throwing other companies' names into it, then I kind of have a problem with it. And then it becomes this whole like, it's just a bit like, then you start attracting the wrong attention, and then you got other people like in there. Like, I get they're attracting the wrong, they're attracting too much of the wrong attention. Anyway. All right, so Tom Bell is talking about at Prime, you own the truck in 3 years. Companies like Hirschbach, you have a balloon payment. That's true. So, like I said, I do think that Prime has the best lease purchase out there. If you want to buy a truck, if you want to do a lease, it's very straightforward. I think I was looking through at my last stuff. My payments on mine were, I think my truck was like 150 something and some change. I think my interest was like 20 something thousand. I don't remember. 36 months. The last month, so it's actually 35 months. Or however you want to break it down, weeks or whatever. The last payment is $100, which satisfies that lease, or satisfies that purchase. So when you go to buy the truck, you're not paying any tax on that like you would if there was a balloon payment, because that balloon payment becomes a purchase price. So now you're paying tax and everything on a purchase price of whatever that balloon payment was. Whereas when I paid off my last truck, it cost me $11 to transfer the title. So I am happy. I don't really hadn't really kept up with those guys that much at Hirschbach. I am happy that it seems like they've gone through a lot of pain the last few years. And I hate to see anybody going through pain and stuff like that. So I'm happy when people aren't stressed out about money and they're not worried about their family and, all that kind of stuff. So on that end, I'm happy. I don't like them flexing the way they're flexing. That really rubs me the wrong way, especially when they're comparing it to, what's going on at Prime, stuff like that. Now, if it was somebody that left Prime and went there and they were like, this is so much better, then that's one thing. Now you at least have something I can respect that. But you've never been at Prime. But I have all these people I have 9 drivers at Prime that are talking about coming over to Hirschbach. And, my thing is, there's always going to be motherfuckers that just ain't good enough to be where you're at. And I like to not make $1,600 a Prime on a regular lease. You're doing something wrong. What people need to be doing is calling you if they live out there where you live. That right there is no stress, $100,000 a year. That right there. People are sleeping on that. Sleeping on companies like that. Walmart. I think Walmart is a long-term play just because, those benefits are so good. And then getting in at Walmart stock. I mean, every company might end at some point, right? But getting in at Walmart stock at a reduced price, their 401k matches, all that kind of stuff. So, when I thought about where I potentially would go when Prime started doing their thing, was not Hirschbach. you know, I all right, anyway, what is the balloon? Okay, what is the bourbon of the day? Man, we got all kinds of bourbon of the day. Let's see. I've just been kind of sipping. I haven't really hammered it. I probably have had the total amount of maybe 2 shots all day long because I've just been pouring very little amounts in, but we got Penelope Toasted, 100 proof, Still Austin, cask strength. For those of you guys don't know, cask strength, or if you see single barrel, stuff like that, at least cask strength, these don't get diluted by water or anything like that. It's just what comes out of the barrel. So this right here is coming in at 100 and I think it's 116 proof. It's hard for me to read the bottle at this point. 1792 full proof again. Another one that doesn't get diluted, 125 proof right there. My wife bought the 291 bourbon at Costco. This is a very young bourbon. I wouldn't consider this to be something a newer person, or I would not introduce somebody to bourbon with this. But this one, 130 proof. It tastes younger. It doesn't have that, like, it's hard to explain. So that's that. Then we got the Four Roses small batch right there. 104 proof on that. Then my boy Josh that bought my Peterbilt bought me a bottle of this Weller. This is expensive shit right here. Full proof. Just to find it is a feat in itself. Then you're paying like secondary market prices on this. So that comes in at 114 proof. And then if I was just like sitting around and I didn't want to drink anything expensive, we got the Old Granddad 114 coming in at 114 proof. So that's what we got. Gentleman Jack. That would not be something that I would really. Jack Daniels does have some good stuff. I would probably be kind of more on their higher end stuff. Like if you see like Jack Daniels single barrel or man, Jack Daniels had a bottle I was thinking about buying. It was like I think it might have been 132 proof, or it was up there. It might have been 135 proof. It was a single barrel. It was like a single barrel something. But Jack Daniels, to me, on that lower end, like whether it's the number 7 or even the Gentleman Jack, I think Jack Daniels does very well once you get into their upper level stuff. Like I forget some of the names of them, but those are really good. But shit, most people, I mean, sometimes you just don't know until you know. Like I didn't know until, I had somebody show me some shit and I was like, oh man, okay. Like none of this stuff except for maybe this 114 would be stuff that I would like mix with like Coke or something. The rest of it is just like sipping stuff. Like you're just, you're not really trying to get fucked up like you would be like on some of the other stuff. You're just trying to enjoy the experience, kind of, all that shit. All right. Anyway, we have a problem with. Wait. All right. Let's see. If I make it through, I'm definitely trying to retire there for sure. Okay. I think we were talking about Walmart. The dedicated with Prime averages 14 to 15 a week after the truck payment. You know what? And that, okay. Here's the thing. I don't know what dedicated you're running, but even 14 to 1500 dedicated with no brain damage whatsoever. Fuck, I'd take 14 to 1500 over like 1800, just knowing what I'm doing every week. Now, I do know a guy that ran a dedicated, the Tennessee to like Michigan shit. He had a lightweight truck. So he was making more cents per mile. I thought he was dumb when he left that to do a regular lease at Prime, because he was killing it on a lightweight. He was making more money than that on a lightweight truck. No payments, no nothing. Takes time off, no hit to nothing. And so I think that right there. As a matter of fact, I know another guy. He comes in here every now and then. I don't know if he's in here now, but I'm the one that I put him on that route because the guy that I was talking about earlier quit, and I knew that position opened up. So I put them two together, and he took that job, and he's running a lightweight. So I don't know if he's still doing that, but that job was actually better with a lightweight truck than a lease. All right. We have a problem here at Cheeseman, low turnover and only 300 trucks, but they are hiring sometimes. That's pretty much any good job. It's hard to get into. Done in a few weeks with the payments. That's what I'm talking about. Also, you got me feeling low budget. Okay, we already went through that. Upgrade to the ones you suggested.
So I don't know where I hid the shit from, so.
All right. JGR is Southern California, 100 to 300 miles round trip per day, maybe 500 a week for fuel. Oh, okay. So you running that? Okay, I did know a girl that ran that route. Are you talking about the one that goes and picks up at all those places in Southern California and drops off at that Colton, California Walmart? I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not. But I knew a girl that ran that route in a lightweight truck. So I don't know if that's the one, that's the route you're talking about, but I did know somebody running that. Okay, that girl was killing that route in a lightweight truck, and she ended up leaving because she was getting too many. She must have got like 3 parking tickets outside of that Colton Walmart. This is back when it was like busy, like when the last time I went to that Walmart, it was not busy. When I was going there, when she was going there, it was like every single dock was full. There was like trucks out the road. But she quit because of that, and she quit because, boy, she was tearing shit up. Boy, she was on the top 200 at Prime. Anybody at Prime knows that top 200 is not where you want to be, and she was on that. Tom is going to take 7 to 8 days off, probably need practice back in when he comes back out. That's like me. Like I said, I think I'm coming out like the 5th or 6th. I'm going to come back out between the 4th and the 6th of January. A lot of that's going to have to do with weather. It could be the 2nd to the 6th, depending on what the weather looks like. So I'll probably need help back in when I get out there. Yeah, she was definitely getting tickets out there. And the problem with that route she was having, and it was probably because she didn't know any better. She wasn't a master of her clocks and all that kind of stuff, but she was saying that there was no way to do what they wanted her to do without violating her logs. So a lot of that was probably just her. I don't know. She was brand new. Actually, she wasn't brand new. I think she ended up completing her year at Prime. So maybe her last 4 months were on that route, maybe last 6. And this is back in 2020. Was I talking about that tanker chick? No, this girl never had a YouTube channel, anything like that. I was in training with her. So we both came out of training. Actually, she upgraded before I did because I stayed those extra months, you know what I mean? So I just thought that what Prime was asking her to do was absolutely stupid. Was she had done a few things that, like hit a few things, new people shit, right? So then they're like, okay, well, you're going to need to come in, for a safety class. Now she's over in California when they tell her this. They tell her she needs to come across, or she needs to go to Missouri for a safety class. Now this is like the middle of January, early February, I don't remember. But you're going to tell me the smartest thing to do as a company, if you feel like you have a driver that has some weakness or some safety issues, you think the smartest thing to do is to drive them all the way across the middle of the country over 80 and, all that kind of stuff to go to Missouri for a safety class. If I thought somebody wasn't safe, the last thing I'm going to do is run them across Wyoming in the winter, and do all that kind of stuff. But that's what they did. So then they go out there and then they don't tell her. So they take her out there to the safety class and she does all that. And then she comes back to her truck and the truck is governed at like 58 miles an hour max. Now, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But don't like not tell somebody that's what you're doing. So in 2020, all you had to do is have a job and a heartbeat and a CDL, and most Chicago companies are willing to waive one or the other. Yeah, the girl I was talking about, she's still driving. So, she's got her shit together now. Sometimes, companies can't be patient enough for you to learn what you got to learn. But I thought they could have handled that a little bit different. Like, give somebody a safety class in, like, Salt Lake City or something if you're going to do that. Like, to me, that didn't make sense. Maybe I'm wrong. Here's somebody I don't have faith in driving correctly, but what I think the correct thing to do is have them drive across I-80 in the wintertime to come out here to Springfield to take a safety class in person. That does not make sense. Speaking of Chicago companies, you still got these people out here talking shit about Super Ego. I'm going to tell you, There is no way Super Ego is the company to talk shit about. I would not put them past like putting a hit out on somebody if they start affecting somebody's money. And I just saw another video come up, and I'm like, man, these guys have balls right here. I'm telling you, I cannot wait to get these damn tacos. Man, these tacos this place makes over here, especially, usually you think the best tacos and shit like that come from like the worst areas in town. These places are these tacos were banging. And my daughter was saying, these guys make this sauce that's almost just like yours. And I was like, yeah, because I make my own sauces. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, these guys make their own homemade shit. 58 miles an hour wouldn't be a problem in California. No, it wasn't a problem in California, other than the fact that I don't think 58 miles an hour was cutting it for what they were asked. 58, I think I would now drive 58 in California based on some of the tickets I've been seeing going out. But back in the day, and it's been a while since I've been to California, there were cops passing you up going 65 miles an hour, acting like you were driving too slow back then. Like, $55 in California is absolutely stupid.
Okay, my fucking hair's getting in the way. I can't see shit. I'm not trying to cut my hand off.
What are you doing?
I'm cutting something with the jigsaw.
My wife is like putting new hardwood floors or whatever in our bathroom, and as long as she doesn't try to get me to be involved in that shit, it's fine. I think she's out there cutting some shit. I'm not trying to get involved. I'm like, I'm like somebody getting arrested by the police. I don't want to be involved in it. Let's see. Dad makes, daughter breaks. Wait. Your wife is installing the floor. The shit was supposed to get done before I came home. I don't do none of this shit. I stroke checks. She's the one out here trying to act like it makes her feel better because she's doing it. And I was like, it better look good. This better not be no homemade looking shit going into, Anyway, yeah. Did I see the Super Ego driver that parted out his truck? Yeah, I think I saw a video about that. They ain't doing nothing about the shit either. I mean, why? I think they're. I think Super Ego wants to lay as low under the radar as they can. Yep, the cars are allowed to go 70 in California. The trucks are limited to 55. That's part of the problem. That's one of the reasons why I say that one of the most dangerous places to drive in the United States is the Grapevine, because you got everybody doing wildly different speeds. You got cars doing 70. You got some trucks that are like out there, driving above the speed limit, let's say 55, 60. Then you got people that are doing the speed limit like, you know, 35 or whatever it is out there. I mean, it's just two varying of speeds. And that's the same problem with just the regular freeways in California. Is everybody's like doing different speeds. The Suave truckers headed to prime orientation inedible tanker. I don't know anything about tanker. I know some people over there love it. I think there's people that don't love it. I think if you're in tanker and you live in certain areas, that works out well. What I don't think works out well is driving 300 miles over a tank wash or something like that. Live in Joplin, Missouri. That's a good little route for you then. I know somebody that does tanker that lives kind of off of Missouri 7, close to like Harrisonville or whatever that is. And he said he's home all the time. So that might be good for you. When I see they be wearing tracksuits and Super Ego, I was like, hell no. Nah. Hey, if you see some of my early videos, I used to wear Puma. I used to have some Puma, like a Puma jacket and Puma sweats and shit. And I used to say that was my, I forgot what I called it, but yeah, that was, fuck, I forgot what I would say about that outfit. Like I was like wearing my, fuck. Yeah, anyway. In Russia, they would call them gopniks. Gopnik is basically like a b-boy, except the Russian version of b-boys, and that's what they would call them. And they had this little stance they used to have where they used to squat down, and they used to have on their little Puma or Adidas outfits and shit. Yep, Puma and Adidas. Shit, as a matter of fact, I still got that Puma gear. I might break it out one of these times when I come back out next time. It's not thick like winter time thick. It's good for like fall or something like that. I might in fall run up to them and say what's up. The Gopnik squat. Yep. And I only know of that from being in the Marines with a guy whose actual family was from Russia. So I learned all about the Gopniks and that whole like group of people and shit. All right, I think I solved my revenue problem I mentioned on a previous live. Might be my dispatcher. He denied that anybody was doing over 5K revenue, and I'm sitting at 3,200 for the week. Trust me, there's last week, not last week, because I had a short week last week, but 2 weeks ago, everybody I talked to, if you look at Eric, at Driveline, and everybody I talked to, they all did better. I think I did 7,000 that week. Everybody I knew did better than me that week. I talked to my man Henry, did 85. Driver line, I think I did 72 or something. I forget. It was like just over 7. Driveline, I think did 75. I talked to everybody I talked to was like 75. So whatever. I think I was the lowest out of that at like whatever I was. So I know that five's not the people are doing over 5. If a fleet manager is telling you that. Now here's what they will do. If you ever are in a meeting and you hear Prime or whoever saying our average fleet or our average lease operator does $1,500 a week, they're averaging every truck out there. So they're averaging me, who's sitting at home right now. They're averaging all those people. They're not averaging the people that are out working. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in consideration is they're averaging the entire fleet, including trucks that are broke down.
That's what their report does.
Right.
It just looks at every truck. So they're not, I don't think they're trying to be deceitful. They're just being lazy.
So now my wife needs to get a job inside.
They're just being
Prime.
lazy and only having it all trucks and not breaking down the who's. So, I mean, that's it. They're giving the easy answer. And it's not a wrong one. It's not a lie. I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just telling you they're taking the easy way out. They got a little report that generates that says all the trucks under them. I know that because I used to have to run a bazillion reports. And that's the kind of shit you gotta put up with. Okay. Look, family, you're doing great.
So anyway, that's kind of that. You need to go pee? All right, well, I think I need to get off here and take this dog out to go take a piss right quick. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Truck and Transportation. If you got in after I answered the question about Prime capping lease drivers, go to the beginning of this video. But I need to get out of here before this dog pees all over the place. Anyway, let me get out of here. I'm out.
What's the matter, baby? Taylor said I always fell asleep, so it'll be longer.